A warm welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Thursday, February 11. Health authorities this evening confirmed they're working to control an outbreak of the coronavirus at an elderly care home in St. John. Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kenneth George, said more than a dozen senior citizens and other staff members have so far tested positive for the virus.
It is an ongoing situation. We're trying to manage that situation at New Dawn for many logistical reasons. We have separated the patients who are positive from those who are negative, and the nursing staff who are attending those patients didn't return a positive test. These are very difficult situations because nursing homes are the right place to have outbreaks. It's occurred in the United States and it's occurring here. This is about the third nursing home we have had issues with, and we will try to contain the situation.
According to this evening's COVID-19 Situation dashboard issued by the Ministry of Health, the cases at the nursing home are now at 22, 19 patients and 3 staff members. These cases are included in the 47 new positive cases recorded on Wednesday from 690 tests. At Her Majesty's Prison Dodds, 361 of 363 persons who have tested positive have recovered. Overall, there are 1,904 confirmed cases and 1,547 persons have recovered. In other news, Barbados' top official, Governor General Dame Sandra Mason, today took her COVID-19 jab. She says it was effortless and is happy to have been vaccinated. Dame Sandra urged Barbadians to take the vaccine, and for those who are still skeptical, she says, talk to your medical doctor.
People are generally doubtful. All right, and if it had been said, "Oh, Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason was vaccinated today," somebody will say, "Oh, yeah. So how come these other people all over the world did it, and it was shown in the press?" And so I wanted everyone to not to trust my word that I had it, that it was a seamless exercise. It was a painless exercise. I don't know if the needle is smaller than other needles that you normally get, but I felt absolutely nothing. But as I said, I'm a realist. If something has to be done, it has to be done. And perhaps what I can do is take this opportunity to thank the government of India through, I know, our Honorable Prime Minister. She's done it already. So I want to add my thanks to the government of India, because we are one little speck in the ocean, and for them to have thought that we could be, in line for this. We are forever grateful. And I would want her also to add my thanks to her, to the government of India, for having permitted and allowed us to get this. I can only say that I am very happy. I'm ecstatic almost to have received the vaccination, and I hope many of our Barbadians will follow suit.
The Governor General was recently forced to quarantine after a member of her staff tested positive for COVID-19. Both her tests were negative. She reflected on the experience.
I don't panic. I hardly ever panic about anything, because I believe that there's a response for practically everything. And if you panic first, then it's like if you're drowning and you panic, whether you can swim or not, you're going to drown. In those circumstances, when I was informed that the police officer had tested positive, I just gathered all the staff together and told them that we must all be tested. Fortunately for us, they came right away. We were all tested. We got our results back. And I also thought that, well, obviously the place would have to be sanitized, following the protocols. So we moved out of the government house. And then 5 days later, we had the second test. And, having had the second test and proved negative, I can breathe a sigh of relief. And when I heard that vaccine was coming, I made sure that I informed the authorities that I wanted to be, if not first in line, third or fourth or fifth. And I am grateful that they listened, and I have had my first dose of the vaccine, and I look forward to getting my second dose.
Vaccines remain a strong defense against COVID-19, so says the Director General of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, amid concern about their effectiveness against emerging variants of the deadly virus. Dr. Etienne told reporters at her weekly briefing on Wednesday that while 20 countries in the region have at least one of the 3 variants of concern circulating in the Americas, there's no reason for alarm, but for attention.
PAHO is a strong believer in the life-saving power of vaccines. Based on the evidence that we have now on the variants of concern, we are confident that our growing portfolio of COVID-19 vaccines remains useful and will guide us through the end of this pandemic. Our trust remains unabated. We have at our hands a whole generation of effective vaccines to prevent infection and especially severe disease. Down the line, we may need to adapt our strategies, but we will continue to rely on these vaccines.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, health authorities in Trinidad and Tobago say a return to some semblance of normalcy is on the horizon, with the pending arrival of the first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines. Health Minister Terence Dale Singh has suggested at some point, even nightlife will once again be a possibility, but only if enough people are vaccinated. We get more in this report from TV6 News.
But the minister has cause to hope that in the near future, our numbers will be much fewer.
I am absolutely pleased by the amount of people who are contacting me almost every single day to access the vaccination in their neighborhoods, in their businesses, and so on.
Trinidad and Tobago can expect its first shipment of vaccines in late February into early March. But the vaccines promise to bring much more than just a level of immunity.
The social interaction that we have been craving and missing for the past 10 months, we can start to have some of that again. And the last parts of the business community, like nightlife and so on, we can look favorably at reopening those things. But to do that, we must get a certain number of people vaccinated so we could control the virus.
Further afield in Myanmar, anti-coup protesters took to the street for a 6th consecutive day after U.S. President Joe Biden announced sanctions against the Southeast Asian nations general. There has been an outpouring of anger and defiance since the military ousted the country's civilian leader last week. More in this report from Euronews.
Gathering in downtown Yangon and in a handful of cities across the country, protesters were back on the streets Thursday, showing their opposition to the military coup. Among the demonstrators, men donning skirts to draw international attention, and members of ethnic minorities, including the Karen group. But the 6th consecutive day of protests also followed a new wave of arrests, according to an official from the party of ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Overnight, authorities detained Kyaw Tsin Sway, close aide to the former leader, as well as at least 4 others linked to her deposed civilian government.
Seems to be a sort of second wave of arrests from the military after those initial arrests on February 1st when they launched the coup. I think it's important to note that these are arbitrary detentions under international law and illegal. It seems that they have been targeting election officials as well as political leaders and activists across the country.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.